All right, it is It is September 2nd. Just got back from the river. Did a little fishing, had a little fun over Labor Day weekend. Gonna head in. Another episode of The Edge Whitetails comes at you right now. All right, welcome back to another episode of The Edge Whitetails. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hey, while you're at it, hit that subscribe button quick. It'll help us out. It'll help the channel, bring you more content. We got hunting season coming up here. Seasons open up in a few weeks, especially for Delana. We're going to bring you all the hunts as we have them. We'll have them out the same day. So if you like the content, hit that subscribe button. Anyway, I'm going to get very familiar today with this little machine right here. On a lot of these channels, guys don't really talk much. Maybe some do, but I don't really see a lot with guys talking about mowing. And that's a huge aspect of our land management down here. Not only mowing the plots, but I've had some videos in the past mowing the access trails and just generally mowing spots to try and get the deer to go a certain way. Deer have a little bit of a lazy streak in them. They will go with the path of least resistance most of the time. If they're really in fear or skittish, they're not gonna, but most of the time they will go with the path of least resistance. So a lot of different times throughout the property here, I will mow trails just simply to funnel them to certain areas. Also, the third thing to this, so we have access, channeling them, and then the third thing is, fourth thing, because we have also mowing the food plots. The fourth thing is, I had a video a few weeks back about natural food plots, and I'm going to show you a couple more examples of that today, mowing around the oak trees so they can get at the nuts real easy. So stay tuned. I'm going to get on the mower. I think, so the east clover plot has a bunch of clover in it, but the weeds have gotten really tall. Now, generally on September 2nd, I would not want to mow that anymore, but we've had a fair amount of moisture down in here. It's river bottom, and from what happened the other evening when I planted the cereal rye, I scalped this thing, as you guys saw, and you can already see where the clover is really lush in here. You can already see it bouncing back, so that tells me that I'm going to go ahead over on the other clover plot, and I'm going to set the mower real high. That's what I'm going to do first. Set the mower real high, mow it off, hopefully get rid of those broadleafs. The flood washed in so many weed seeds, it's ridiculous. So I'm going to go ahead and mow that on high. I'm not going to do a thing with, of course, with the final forage that's in here in the winter bulbs, but we're going to mow that on high, and hopefully the clover can just bounce up through and we'll get rid of those broadleaf weeds here on September 2nd. So I'm going to get a bunch of mowing done. I'll show you the examples of the natural food plots, the access trails, and then I'm going to go ahead. I got to replace the shell on Delana's blind, and then we're going to set up a blind out along the bean field, and I'll take you through that as well. So stay tuned. Be an interesting episode, and I'm going to get at it. All right, as I said, I was going to get real familiar with that mower today, and I did. I think I started just a little before noon, and it's almost 3 now, which isn't bad. Got every single trail mowed, every natural food plot mowed, every access trail. Going to show you real quick before we go for a little tour. Access trails just along the bottom edge of the food plots, and you can see here's an intersection that goes down along the south main plot. But I ended up, so I had the mower deck as high as I could, and mowed this east clover plot, and it looks really good. I had a bunch of turnips and stuff coming up in it. I don't know what that'll do to the turnips, but I wasn't too concerned about that. I think maybe we'll take care of the weeds here now in this clover plot. If not, this is going to be one that also has to be redone next spring. That flood was too much. It'll survive a one good flood, but two, well, actually 3 good floods. It had some trouble this year, so no big deal. We'll see what we get out of this. I'll stop the camera for a little bit, but I got to show you something that popped up in here. So somehow, some way, through about 200 pumpkin seeds and all flooded out, we did end up with, flip the camera, we did end up with 1 pumpkin plant that is growing. Very, very doubtful that we'll get any pumpkins, but as you can see, the final forage is growing fantastic. Big leafy greens on top. Gonna have big old bulbs on the bottom. This final forage is the real deal. They'll start hitting it really hard, especially after that first frost, which makes it really good for bow season, the rut, that type of thing. And then we've got the cereal rye right over here that should be popping up any day now. We got a good 1-inch rain on it Thursday. So I seeded it on Monday evening and it got a good rain on it on Thursday. So should be seeing that pop up shortly, but everything looks good here. I am going to take care of that right now. What we use through Sportsman's Guide, there is a deal. You get a 5-foot tower and a soft-sided blind that fits right on it. That's what Delana and I have been using for her. I didn't want to spoil her too bad with a muddy or a redneck. She does need to feel a little bit of cold, but really it held up better than I thought. But through 1 full year out here, actually about 1.5 years, the front has been torn down, but they had a really good deal on an insulated shell for it, so I went ahead and went with that. I'm going to go ahead and get that put on here now, and I'll check back with you. All right, so I got the new blind, and I'm going to show you here what the access trails mean. A good example anyways. This is one here that accesses into the food plot, but it also takes me to the bow stand over the food plot. And it comes all the way from the north end of the property, and it works its way all the way up that way, all the way to the north end of the property. And then the really cool part is we can come from the north end, and especially when it's warmer season and you get a lot of those south winds, and you can sneak right on in here, and there's this beautiful dogwood hedge up at the top end of the food plots, and we can access right from the back. And we have actually, Delana and I have actually gotten in here quiet enough that we've gotten in the stand, in the blind, while there were deer on the south end of the plot. So it really works out well. But gonna go ahead, get a new shell put on here, and I'll show you the finished product from the food plot. All right, so the new blind is on. Pro tip, when you're crawling up in one that's been out here all year, check and make sure there's no wasp nests in it. Could have found out the real hard way. I'm surprised I didn't get stung, but me and bee stings do not go well together. I went to pull the old one off, and the nest hit the deck, and they started buzzing everywhere, and I kicked the nest off of there, and they followed that. So thank goodness that worked out that way. Double check that. So anyway, I'm going to show you. So we can sneak right up from the backside, come right up in it. And these blinds are really cool. Sportsman's Guide, we have no affiliation with them, but of course it's in beautiful mossy oak country DNA, as you see. Would be nothing but. Come on up in here. I lined the floor with those athletic foam pads, and it keeps it, because it comes with a graded floor, and that helps keep the scent in. I'll actually come back in later and I'll duct tape, black duct tape, all the way around the seam there. But as you can see, I'll get some chairs in here, but I'm going to do just a little bit of trimming off the top of that bush out in front. But you can see Delana has a bird's eye view of the food plots and just a sweet, sweet setup here. So that's all set up. Got one more blind I'm going to put up for Delana, pretty much specifically over the bean field, and we'll wrap this up. So as you can see, that's how it sits with the view from the food plot. I took my trimmer and I put an extension on it, and I just topped off just under the window. She's not gonna be able to shoot something that's like right here. Well, probably could, just have to stand up, but and then it looks out over the entire food plots. So great setup for her. It's worked for 2 whitetails for her now, so hoping for something a little bit bigger this year. So we're gonna put up one more blind specifically for youth season. The deer are still in their summer pattern, and we've got a spot in the bean field that they've been coming out in every evening. So I want to get a blind in there quick. I ran my trimmer out of string, so I hope I don't have to cut too many weeds to get this next blind accomplished. But here we go, and we'll wrap it up. All right, I haven't made it to the next blind site yet because there was something else I promised you guys about the mowing, and that was the natural food plots. And this is about as cool of a natural food plot as I've ever come across, and I'm pretty proud of the mow job I did around this. I'll flip the camera here. This whole line here is a row of oaks as far down there as you can see. It's probably a 100-yard row of 15-year-old oak trees, and I mowed in and amongst them. I mowed out around them. Normally it would just be, you know, these weeds are, you know, chest height anyway, and it was that way all the way up in them, so the acorns would fall off and deer couldn't really get at them. Or the pheasants, a lot of pheasants live out here, utilize those acorns too. So I will flip the camera now, have it all mowed out, really nice access trail coming up into it from the woods. From basically the food plot would be, the main food plots would be way over there, but this would be like a little destination food plot. And if you look up in here, beautiful, beautiful acorns all over in there. A couple weeks ago I looked at this and there really wasn't that much here, but they really came on last couple weeks and have really shown themselves. So this is going to be a really good food source throughout late September and October. You know, late September, Delana's youth hunting. October, we get into the bow season. If we have to, Delana will be hunting early muzzleloader on that youth tag. So pretty cool spot, and we're not going to really hunt right over top of it, but it's well deep into the property, and this is another one of those deals as making your property as attractive as you possibly can to the wildlife, and this is certainly one of those deals. So just thought I'd show you all that. So with the mowing, you've got mowing food plots to get the weeds out, you've got the access trails, you've got the funneling of the deer, and this example here of natural food plots. And I did the ones down in the timber today too. I mowed those. You might want to look back a few episodes to natural food plots and check that out. But all right, we're going to make our way, get that blind in along the bean field, and we'll wrap this up and get on out of here on September 2nd. All right, we're going to wrap this up today because I have had my fill. I love being in the land, but all that mow and everything, I've kind of had my fill. So took this Ameristep ground blind in Mossy Oak Country DNA, and I got a spot out here in the bean field. And this is a spot that's going to disappear on us because once them beans are picked, there's really nothing here. But as you can see, there's my camera. And then I've got the ground blind in here. I just went in with the Ranger, pushed some of the CRP down, some of the switchgrass, and then I pulled some back up around it. Before I leave, I'm going to pull a little bit more up around it. We're going to gun hunt out of this, so we really just need to be able to rest the gun, and have it so Delana can clearly see and we'll be in good shape. So should be a pretty good setup for early, and that's really all it's going to be here for. And then I'll take it down and we'll utilize a different deal with it. But quite a distance here, and they've really been gathering up in this corner. So for whatever reason, I don't know if they come from the switchgrass to the north or in behind us here somewhere, but it seems when we get them on camera they're coming from over here, which is good, and then make their way here in the evening. And they have been in daylight. That's always a bonus. So we're going to wrap it up today, September 2nd. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you would be so kind, hit that subscribe button. It's free and easy, and we would be ever so grateful. So anyway, for the Edge Whitetails, I'm Eric Johnston, and remember to get outdoors.